Welcome to Hospitality Branding 101. We're really excited to have you again. Every week, we're doing this free webinar where we're focused on hospitality business and how can we help you leverage your business more online. This week, we are joined again with Carlton, who is from 𝐶𝐨𝐿 Graphics Design Agency. They have definitely been one of those companies we've seen working with. I would say it's definitely understand branding, and I'm really proud that I got a chance to do this webinar with him. The company is based here in Trinidad and Tobago, but they have clients all over the world. Carlton is going to be taking us through today about logos and how does it connect with your emotions and some of the branding insights that you could share in regards to logo. I will be looking at some of the business ways in how you could connect with your guests. And so this week, our topic simply speaks to connect your hotel and logo to emotions. But before we do that, we have some reminders for you so that you could get the best out of these webinars. It's every week, and we want to make sure that we could bring real value to you. For some persons, you may not always be able to join us live. And in that way, what we do is we summarize the information every week and we email it and share it with those persons that are part of our mailing list. So how do you join the webinar? Very simple. Go to vividconsultant.com/webinar. For ease of reference, I'm also going to put this link in the chat so that you can follow the link and join the webinar. For what it should look like, I'm going to give you a view. It will take you to this page. You can just scroll down to the bottom of the page and you'll see a section right here that says reserve your seat. Just enter your email and name and register. We are only focused on sending you value. We're not going to be spamming your account. If we do, I'll be the first one to tell you unsubscribe. We're just going to provide value. We're going to try to ensure that it's things that will be useful and beneficial to you. In addition to that, every week we're going to be giving away something sponsored by Visuals. And we're also going to be allowing persons to enter to win a hospitality website. Before I do that, we just have a winner from last week, and I'm just getting the name of that winner. So Visuals would have sent me that. So I am just getting the name of that person. Last week, we focused on finding your niche and font. And during that time, we would have gotten a feedback that would have went to Visuals Instagram page. How did that person win that? They would have gone to Visuals Instagram page, click on any one of their promotions and simply enter or share the text that simply said Branding 101 giveaway, and they would have won themselves a social media graphic for them to be able to really get a scroll stopper. At the end of the day, there's so much happening on social media. You want to make sure that you have your promotions that allow customers to really zone in and see what you're offering. And you could see from Visuals page that they really understand how to make scroll stopping promotions. So Nicole would have been our winner from last week. We will reach out to her directly and so that we could give her her prize from Visuals. However, if you are interested, we also going to be giving away a fully managed hotel website or hospitality website for that matter. As much as we focus on vacation rental, we also would design and customize a hospitality website. You could come to vividconsultant.com, manage hotel website, and get more details about it. And you're going to be getting 1 year free service valued over $2,000. How do you get that? You simply go to win a hospitality website, and From there, so let's see. So you go, I'm just going to paste it in the chat right now. So you just go to winhospitalitytools.com and it will take you to this page where you could simply enter to win. Every 4 weeks, we're going to be selecting someone to win a managed hotel website. Let me also put that in the chat so that you could just click on that and go to that page. So that's our preliminary. Just want you to know, how do you get the best out of this? Last but not least, if you haven't already joined the Facebook group, now will be a good time for you to join the Facebook group. I'm just bringing in Carlton as well, but so you can go to Facebook group, facebook.com group Hospitality Tools, to where we really try to share additional information about the webinar in case if you missed the live webinar. So welcome again, Carlton. How are things going on your end?
Hey Josh, thanks for having me. Happy to be here once again. Everything is wonderful, man.
All right, excellent. So this week we are talking about connecting your hotel and logo to emotions. And that brings me to the topic of logos. So I had two questions that few persons had written in to me as it relates to their branding and logo and so forth. One of the first questions a viewer wrote into me, asked me, can a logo be trademarked and what are the considerations to pursuing it? So talk to me about this. Can a logo be trademarked and what are the considerations to pursuing it?
So yes, of course it could be trademarked. There are a lot of things to take into consideration when it comes to trademarking. So it's category specific. So different categories you would have to apply differently for certain ones. It's also region specific as well. So that's the next thing to take into consideration. And whether it's worth pursuing or not, you will kind of have to decide on, you know, how far you want your business to reach and how precious is the logo design to you as a company as you look to expand and grow, to just kind of take that next step to ensuring that this is secure and nobody can just, you know, come and take it or do something similar and infringe on the trademark. So there is a few things to take into consideration, but I think if you're willing to make that next step, then it's definitely something that you should look into.
Thank you very much. Hi, Catherine. Nice to have you. Let us know how the audio is sounding. Hi, Recia. Nice to have you on. Let us know how the audio is sounding. All right. Second question, Carlton. Where are places I would use a logo?
Anywhere or anything that has to do with the business, really. Any piece of material that is associated with the business. So call card, logo, website. Call card, letterhead, website, flyers, signage. Everything that has to do with the business should have that visual identifier on it.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So we have quite a bit to talk about, and we have been trying every week, Carlton, to try to do this in half an hour, and we've never been able to do it. So I'm going to try to jump in. I have a few slides, not a lot, and I just really want to touch on the point on how can you connect your property. And again, because we can't talk about every hospitality business, we focus on vacation rental because it's probably one of the widest area in hospitality, but it's not limited to that. You might be a tour operator, a restaurant, you may be doing maybe a travel agency. So a lot of these still may be applicable. However, as we talk, we're going to be talking in the context of a vacation rental. And more specifically, I would want to say small to medium-sized properties, because what I find, if you're a very large hotelier, then you probably have the budget in terms of supporting some of the best case scenarios, even though I'm sure you could always take some things from this. But the purpose of these webinars is more so for the small to medium-sized properties that just don't have the resources to focus on every part of their business. So we're hoping that you're able to take something from this, that you're able to improve your business. So I'm going to jump into that. Thank you so much, Catherine, for confirming the audio is okay. So I'm going to jump in, Carlton. Once I am through, Carlton will come back and going to talk a little bit about logos. All right. So I'm going to be talking about connecting on an emotional level. More than anything, you want to get to the point that you're not just talking about guests here. It's not just the four walls. For every person that is visiting your property, they're looking for an experience. It's there. In many cases, they're coming to a strange place, assuming they haven't been there before. So you got to really take that into consideration and not just assume that this is the average customer that is, or guest that is coming to your property. Your goal is to connect with them on an emotional level. And it's such an interesting thing. For years, you've been told to be professional, and you try to make sure you answer the phone in a professional way, you respond in a professional way, and you get so professional that you forget you're dealing with people. And people talk to people, and in some cases they would have much preferred you saw them as a friend, someone that you would have looked out for. That don't mean you're going to go beyond being professional and you're going to just take things for granted. In some cases, you will have to understand how this person like communicating, and if that's the case, but you could still connect on an emotional level even while you try to maintain a professional relationship. So let's get into this a little better. And for most person, let me know if you're seeing the slides properly. So the first thing I want to mention is it's important that you provide a personalized experience. And one of the ways in how you could provide a personalized experience is to ask questions. Based on the customer's check-in process, there may be an opportunity to ask questions without being intrusive. Is it a special occasion? Is it a birthday? Maybe an anniversary? One example I had recently is that we recently had a guest that wanted to use our property to do a proposal for their well, it wouldn't be fiance yet, it's a girlfriend, so he was just proposing, and he wanted to use our property for the proposal. It was so sweet that myself and my other co-property manager for one of the property we manage, we just saw it as an excellent opportunity to join in this special occasion. And he decorated one of the units, had petals coming through the lane, and we connected with a good friend of us at 𝐸𝐶 Island Regency. And one of the things 𝐸𝐶 did for us was create a nice custom box as a gift for the couple. Of course, we were hoping she said yes. The gift, we gave it to him first, and we hoped that it would be something that they could use to celebrate in the evening. He had a nice bottle of wine, some local chocolatier, only done here in Tobago. So it was custom designed. They weren't necessarily going to find it. And this was paid out of pocket. It wasn't something that the guests paid for, but we wanted to play a part in this special experience. And this connected in a way with the guests that, you know, it was really something that went over and beyond. She had a wonderful engagement, and we were able to contribute to that with just presenting a gift to them. And you may not be able to do that with every single occasion, but you want to choose an occasion where you could play a part and personalize the experience in any particular way. So let me just jump back into the slide. So as we were saying, so ask questions before they arrive. Now, once you understand what they are looking for, the next thing you want to do is tailor the environment as much as possible. After you, let's assume that it's children that's booked with their family, then you may want to see, is there an opportunity for you to personalize that environment? Is there a crib that you may be able to assign to the room if there's one that's not already there? For example, we have a particular unit that we rent just for events, or for someone that is looking to have an event, because it's away from a lot of the guests in the event that they want to play music. In that particular unit, we have a portable cooler bar. We allow them to play music so that it's a little bit more private, as well as if they have a special occasion, we also have certain chairs and chargers. If it's an event or a small boutique wedding, we're prepared to adjust the pool area to best suit what they want to do. So as long as you understand what the guest is trying to do, there is where you want to personalize the experience. It may not always work. For example, what we try to do, each of the units we have, we customize it so it have different color schemes and layout, even though they're all shaped the same. And we see a connection with a lot of our guests that now says, I like this particular villa because the color appeals to me. Now, that can work against you because you may not always get the color that appeals to persons, but you don't want to do your research there to see what is it that you're going for. If your theme really fits a particular color scheme, then that could work for you. For example, we name each of our villa after particular flowers, and then we color the villa, or we use the color representative of that flower within the villa in different areas. And that really creates a totally different personality for each of the units that are rented. And the guests, you could see, connect with that, in that they may say, I like this particular unit, I want to rent this one again because I just like the color. They're all shaped the same, but the color sometimes could make a difference. The other thing is, provide a tour of the accommodation and explain where everything is located. Just don't take for granted that they will see the guest book with the details inside. If you can, walk them around the property, take them through the different areas, and inform them of things that are unique to the property. If your pool jets turns on at a certain time and turn off at a certain time, let them know ahead of time so they're not surprised when they go down to the pool and they're wondering why I can't access the pool or the jets aren't on. Or if they go down early in the morning, maybe your jets turn on at 6 a.m. and they went down for an early pool bath at 5:30 and they're not sure what's happening. Then they're calling, and it's something very simple that you could have told them ahead of time. For example, in one of the guest property that I manage, it has a security lock on the door where instead of actually turning down to open it, you gotta actually turn it up. A simple thing, but it will be very complicated if someone don't know that this is actually a security lock. They will think something is wrong with the lock when it's something that was put there for their purposes as well. In addition to that, ask about if there's any allergies or dietary restrictions, so you could prepare or provide suggestions. You may not be preparing food on property. Let's say in my case, where I manage a self-contained villa, the person cooked their own food. However, they might not be into cooking and they would like to get suggestions of where they could order in. In that way, it'll be nice for you to have suggestions that is already maybe vegan friendly if this person is not necessarily into eating meat, or if they have certain allergies, where are places that they could get food that would fit their dietary restrictions. So knowing ahead is important, and that's why you want to ask questions and as much as possible personalize that experience. The other way in how you could connect on an emotional level is to communicate as you would communicate with a friend. Here is someone that you would typically use your friends' names. You're not necessarily thinking about nicknames or so on, because you still have to go according to how comfortable the guest is. And you will figure that out as you're communicating, and they will almost reciprocate that in the way they communicate. But try your best to use guest names when you're talking to them, and not just room number or things like that. It has such a connection. I remember checking into a particular property, and one of the things that really made a difference for me is after I checked in, and my wife and I came down for something else, and the person was the same person that checked us in the day before, and she just said, "Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Stewart, how are you guys doing this morning?" And I mean, just as simple as that. I know this person is checking in, you know, tens of 20 of persons daily. And for them to remember us by name, it just made us feel special. As simple as remembering our name, and not room 56 or something like that because they saw it on the keychain. Remembering and using someone's name just has a really strong connection to them. Even on social media, when I'm talking to a guest that is trying to book a property, I try to use their name. Now, sometimes on social media, persons have all kind of funny names, so I will have to work around that because, you know, it might be Catherine, but online it might be Kitty 69.4, you know, so I would still have to adjust it to suit. But still, as we are communicating, I try to also sign off on my name, even though I'm chatting from the company handle. I want them to know they're not talking to robots. I want them to know they're talking to Joshua. So even at the end of the chat, I might just put an asterisk and say Joshua, so that if you're wondering, or if you call the number, you want to know who was the person I'm talking to on social media, that you know it was me. Because if you call the number, you might get one of my other colleagues, and the communication may not sync. So you could tell, or you could say, "Hey, I was talking to Joshua online and he gave me this information. Is it the same?" So that they know and they could feel comfortable with the experience. When someone is checking in and coming from overseas, they just don't know who they're dealing with. They don't know what the experience is going to be. And as soon as you can make them feel comfortable with the communication, it makes them feel, you know, just easier in terms of asking or answering questions, especially when you ask questions that they may not have thought of as being important, and you're anticipating certain things. So let's move on. In addition to that, you may want to ensure that you remember they don't know the local environment. You can't just assume that even though you know your property is an hour drive from the airport, that they might be familiar with that. So depending on where they're coming in, ask and make recommendations. As I said, one of the property I manage is self-contained, so it's not going to have food in the villa when they arrive. And if they're coming in at a particular time, I've seen that where I may recognize that this person is going to be checking in at 11 o'clock at night. They're not going to have anything to purchase at that time. I may see that and say, "Hey, I realize you're coming in late. Is there a few basic things you'd like me to pick up for you and have in the units, at least when you arrive, you have something to eat in the morning? Maybe it's just some bread or so on." And a lot of times it really, something doesn't cost you much. And in many cases, I may not even charge what I am taking or what I'm going to be getting to put in the room, especially if someone is spending 3, 4, 5, 6 nights. It might take me $50. They've already spent $5,000 to $6,000 to stay at my property. It's not going to kill me to spend $50 or $60 to buy some bread, maybe a few bottles of water, make sure they have something for coffee or whatever it is in the morning. And then when they get a chance, they could also go and shop. Or figuring out, do they need to get a shuttle tour from the airport or from the port? If they're not driving, do they need a rental? And do they want help in organizing that for them? Asking those questions ahead of time just make it so easier for them, and they recognize that you're concerned about what's going on with them. Anticipate their needs and share valuable resource. And I think I've touched a little bit on that. If you know what they are coming for, it's an anticipation of what they can expect. If I see there's a group of friends or so for looking to visit, I know I have a grill on property. I might ask them, "Hey, do you guys want to use the grill? Do you want me to get coals for you? It's already a gas grill, but maybe you need to get some other items that you weren't sure about. We have grill utensils, but do you need something else? Do you need a larger pot? Because you're going to be cooking for a particular group." These little things that you're able to do, or just ask the question so that they don't have to assume. Or I tell them ahead of time, "Hey, don't worry, the property already have toiletries. There's already towels and their beach towels. There's so you don't need to walk with your extra pots or things like that. All that is there unless you have something specific that you want to walk with. So having that conversation ahead of time could really help. So I see a few questions coming in, so I'm gonna answer those as soon as I'm finished, because I want to run through my slides so I give Carlton enough time to talk about logos. The check-in is just the start. A lot of times after we've gone through all the hassle to get the guests, we've gotten them to pay, they're booked, they're ready, maybe they're checked in. You throw up your hands, that's it, job's done. It's just gotten started. Check in with them. And I try to make sure I give guests enough space so that I'm not like hounding them, but at the same time that I'm close enough if they need something. How is things going? Do you know where to put out the garbage if you have extra garbage, or do you know that you could just leave it there and someone will come and take it if it's not working? Is there everything working fine? Do you need anything extra? Do you need extra towels? Just checking every now and then. But I like the fact that if it's a return guest, use the technology as much as possible. So I typically try to put certain information in the check-in system. So when someone is returning, I'm able to look back at the previous check-in and see if there were certain details that they shared the first time. Maybe they were visiting the first time for their birthday, and I'm realizing it's a year that's passed, and it's their birthday the second time around. I can do something a little special for them. I could really prepare something for the room, maybe decorate the room based on what it is. It's an anniversary. I know when they came the last time was their 9th anniversary. If they're coming the same time this year, it's their 10th anniversary. I could do that for the room, and I could have the housekeeper maybe just use some flower petals or something and just write 10 congratulations, 10 on the bed or something like that, that I don't have to ask them again. And you could be amazed how far that would go if you're able to use your technology. Now, one of the things that I've fallen in love with is using a chatbot. Now, what's a chatbot? A chatbot basically is an AI-powered live chat. Typically, we are accustomed to live chat. Someone sends you a message, you're there to answer. However, what do you do if it's 2 o'clock in the morning and you're sleeping? A chatbot allows you to automate certain responses. So you could have your chatbot programmed for if someone says, what's the cost of this villa? You already know the cost and how many days. You could program it to respond with a specific answer to that question. What is your check-in and check-out time? You could program your chatbot to respond to this with your information so that you could provide information while you are away from your desk, and it still stores the chat and the contact that if you get up now in the morning, you could follow up with a live response in the event that there was a question that the chatbot did not answer. I did a video on this, and I could always link it at the end of this video, but one of my recommended chatbot that I use is Tidio. It has a free version so that it would give you up to 100 chats before you have to pay. So I think it's an excellent way to get that started. And I actually use it on my personal blogging website. So if you go to joshuaostroat.com, you will notice a little pop-up comes up that says, hey, let me help you get around. What do you want to do? Do you want to create a new website or upgrade? And if you click on that, it gives you different videos that will tell you how to create it. And that's already programmed into the system. An excellent way for you to program your auto responses so that someone could get the answer they need if they're trying to check in. So that's using a chatbot and just using the technology as much as possible. The last thing I would say as it relates to this is the check asks for feedback and an honest review of their stay. A lot of times you always want to hear good responses. You want to know everything was great. You know what I'm most interested in? Did you have a bad experience? I want to know. You know, one of my favorite customer service book is Hug Your Haters by 𝐁𝐵𝐴. The people that have a bad experience that chooses to tell you about it is really some of the best guests you could have, because there's some that had a bad experience and they're not telling you, but they're telling everyone else. They're probably going on TripAdvisor, or they're going to go on Google reviews or someone and blast you, and you probably don't know. And so if you know what happened, and a lot of times, sometimes it's something simple that you just weren't aware of that you could fix for the next guest. So let them know why you want the review and preempt them. Say, hey, we really want to know how we could make your experience better the next time. So can you give us an honest review? Don't try to coerce them into giving you a good review for the sake of giving you a good review. That's not going to help you in the long run. So ask them for an honest review. You could ask them verbally up front. They may not feel comfortable if it's a bad review, but you could ask them to write it to you after the fact. You could, or especially, I still ask persons to leave a review on my website, leave a review on the particular villa that they rented. And I don't delete bad reviews. I respond to every review, especially if you could find a solution, figure out what happened first, check on a solution. And if there's something you could do to make it better, address that review and be honest and answer it. If you could say, hey, thank you for making that review. Yes, there was a problem with the hot water. You know, we got our guys to change it. It's something that is totally resolved now. And we'll be happy to give you, you know, an extra day free on your next visit just to try us again. Whatever it is, but don't hide from it. Don't delete the review, or, you know, just try to hide it from others. If you're honest with that review, persons that is reading that may anticipate and say, hey, I like the way these guys dealt with that, because things go wrong. And most people understand that and accept that. So don't run from your review. And that's it. Carlton, I tried, I still went over, but let me answer a few questions. So Catherine say, I put crackers, granola, coffee, chocolate, water, etc. in a basket for guests. Excellent. You know, and that's something you could budget for. That's something you could say, hey, this is what I'm going to do for my guests. And that's just an extra perk that they may not actually anticipate. So when they get it and they're not looking for it, they really appreciate it. Nicole says, yes, true. It helps to personalize the experience. For villa guest house management, I think it's nice to have these things stocked, because things like water is always forgotten. You are so true. I always try to make sure that housekeeper have cases of water so that it's always there. I remember I had a guest that then is asking, hey, I didn't get water. Can I use the pipe water? I'm like, I don't use pipe water. I'm sorry. So I would never recommend you to use it. So I already have water, cases of water that was stored, and we just brought some for them, and they were asking if they have to pay. I'm like, no, that's fine. That's on the house. You could have that when you get a chance to go. That's something you could. All right. So as you're noticing, I am dark. I lost electricity. That's what happens when you're going live. These things happen. So I am actually teetering from my mobile. So I'm gonna bring in Carlton so that he could he could talk to me about mobile, about logo, and hopefully my electricity comes back by the time it goes. So Carlton, I'm gonna bring in your slides. Let me know once you
No
could see
problem.
your slides, and hopefully I get a chance to answer any of those questions that is there. So Carlton, you can go ahead, and I'm going to hope I get some electricity back in time.
Okay, Josh. I hope you figure that out quickly. Yeah, so you can pull me up on the big screen so we can get started. Okay. So logo designs and how to connect them to emotions. So I will have a number of things to go through here. So I'll just start with asking what is a logo design. And if you Google it, right, they say it's a symbol or a small design adopted by organization to identify its products, uniforms, vehicles, etc., stuff like that. So I'm going to try to break this down a little bit to make it a little bit more specific. So what I came up with is that it's hold on. It's a visual symbol used to instantly identify a company, product, or brand. And once again, I'm going to try to break that down some more, and we get its identification mark. That is it. Full stop. There is it is not more than that. It's an identification mark. It's not supposed to describe the business. It's not a photo, something nice. It's nothing that is supposed to explain the business to the customer. That is not the role of the logo design, right? So in terms of trying to invoke some emotion from just the logo alone, I think that is asking a lot from the logo, but there are ways that you could subtly incorporate it and convey that message subtly as we go along, and I'll point those out as we go down, right? So, but this is what it is. It's just the identification mark. So people see it and they know that, okay, so this and you think about branding and how it incorporates with that. This, along with the branding, will help people know this is what the business is about. But as for the logo alone, that is just the identification mark, right? So let me just get a hold of my slides here. Right? So, okay. While it is not the brand itself, it's an important part of the brand identity, right? So it by itself can't hold up the brand on its own. There are other factors. So we talked about colors last week and fonts the week before that. So all these factors kind of come into play and create the brand identity. So the logo alone, a lot of people feel like they get the logo and like, this is my brand, this is what my brand look like. That is not true. That is just the logo. That is just the identification mark. And then all the other stuff along with it is that what forms the brand, right? So it's when as we think about branding and emotions and trying to convey that, as you can see from the examples on the screen, there are some subtle ways to do it. Like you could just look at these and kind of get a subtle feel of what they're trying to convey, the type of emotions that they're trying to convey. But it's very subtle. It's nothing over the top. It's nothing to say that it is trying too hard to explain to you what the business does. Like you can't look at these and say, oh, this business clearly does shopping, or this is a website for clothes or anything like that. And that is not that is what the logo it doing the right thing. The logo not supposed to explain that. The logo is just supposed to be memorable, so you look at it and visually you remember what it is. And but as I said, with the examples here, you could kind of get a hint at what some of these, the vibe that they're going towards, right? So that's kind of how we incorporate the emotional aspect. But to leave all of that up to your logo, I think it's a lot, right? So a good logo design builds trust, and it communicates to people who have no prior knowledge or experience working with your business that you are in fact a professional. Just by looking at the logos, you know when a logo is professionally done versus, you know, when it's something that you just throw together in paint or something. Like, people know, people see, you see logos everywhere, so people kind of have an understanding of, you know, what is a good logo, what, you know, and what that means in terms of, it means that this person professional and they're looking to up their level and stuff like that. And what's a bad logo in terms of, oh, they look like they're now starting out, they're not so professional, right? So it gives a good first impression as well, right? It helps differentiate your business from the competition as well, right? So let's think about an example of, say there are a group of vendors, right? You're amongst a group of vendors, and let's say you're known for having the freshest and the crispiest vegetables amongst the other vendors, right? The vegetable vendors, right? If you're not there and your product is on the shelf in a grocery or something like that, right? The logo, this is where the logo shines, right? Because people, they know you, they know your face, and they associate that with having the freshest vegetables. But if you're not there as a person for them to see, and they just have the two products in front of them, the other person product could be cheaper, it could be bigger, it could, you know, it could look nicer than yours. But this is where the logo comes in. The logo is that representation, that identifying mark that says, this is the product that you should get because you know what comes with this, right? You know that this is the freshest and the crispiest vegetables around. And that is how the logo is used to identify, not to explain, not to do anything else. I keep on saying that because a lot of people get confused. But that is where the logo really comes in. When, say, you're not there and it's surrounded by other products, this is how people identify what is you and what is your brand, right? Is the logo, right? So there are a number of different types of logo to help you achieve this goal of having a nice identifying mark, a good professional looking identifying mark that people see and you know, they associate with your brand and so forth, right? So we'll just run through a couple types of logos to help you make an informed decision when you're moving forward. So firstly, there are symbols, right? These are used by larger companies that, you know, operate worldwide, right? So so think about Fisher Price or Apple or Nike, right? These symbols, they kind of, because they're marketing, you know, to our worldwide audiences, different languages, different cultures, different a whole bunch of other stuff, language barriers and all of that. These kind of transcend all of that, right? These simple symbols transcend the language barrier, and you know, that is no longer an issue because everybody could see a sign or see a particular shape or symbol and know, okay, this is what that means, full stop. You think about Apple and the Apple logo, it just invite or the Nike swoosh. It doesn't, it's not a shoe, it's nothing shoelace or nothing like that. It's just a swoosh, but instantly it's recognizable across the world, you know. So this is why bigger companies tend to use symbols, because it's beneficial like that, right? So the other one is word marks, right? These are very versatile, and really any company could use them once you have a standard or easy to pronounce business name. You could use this. A lot of people add customization to them by you could either have a company create a font for you from scratch. A lot of bigger companies do that, so you have that unique aspect about it. Or you take an existing font. We spoke about Helvetica last week or the week before that, and how many different companies use that, but each of them, they have their own custom element to it. So while all them using the same core font, they try to change it up to add that kind of uniqueness to it as well, right? So this is the wrong slide. So some examples of word marks is think Coca-Cola, very famous custom font that was created for this logo. Facebook as well. It looks regular, but this was a custom-made font. Can't remember the name of the company right now, but this is a custom font. Kokomo, which is a restaurant in Brooklyn, right? We created this. This is a custom hand-drawn font that we created for them to use on the restaurant. It's a big, beautiful establishment. If you ever go to New York, you'll see it. So next is letter marks, right? So these are typically used for businesses with very long names or names that are harder to pronounce, right? So as a result of that, companies just use their initials, the initials of the company name, because some of them are like really long or hard to pronounce. Think HP, think KFC. See, this is HP's new very beautiful new logo here. So yeah, so think HP, think KFC. A smaller business again, it's KWJ Tech. Where is it? KWJ Tech, Safety Tech, sorry. Which is a small tech business, tech security business that offers home security and stuff like that based in Tobago. We created this logo for them again. The name was very long because it's his name. So we just used the initials to create this beautiful letter mark. Next, we have combination marks. This is the best of both worlds, right? So this is a combination of the symbols and the word mark that we spoke about earlier, right? It's very adaptable, very flexible, very versatile when it comes to print and digital applications. And you get the benefits as we was talking about the symbols that transcends language barriers and all of that, and all the customization of a word mark and having custom fonts and stuff like that. There are some downsides in that if you're a new business and you're not a well-established brand, there's the potential to confuse new customers when it comes to using a combination mark, right? Because you could use them separately, like use the word mark, or in some cases you just use the icon. You see that with Adidas all the time, but they have like millions millions on marketing. So if a smaller business would try to do this, say they take off the icon and they use that without the word mark, like, so some people might feel that this is a separate business, this isn't the same thing because the word not underneath it, or they might not recognize the icon. So there's a cost factor when thinking about doing a combination mark. There are a lot of positives, but also there are some downsides to consider. So you think about some examples as you seen on the screen here. Pizza Hut, another well-loved local brand is Support. They have cleaning products, right here in Tobago again. We created this logo for them, combination mark with the symbol, the heart and the muscle, and then the text underneath, which I think is 𝐿 as well. And some product photography here that we do for them as well. So this is a nice example of a combination mark. Another popular one is the Berry brand. We also did that one. It's a nice combination mark as well, right? So last but not least, we have emblems. Like, these are very similar to combination marks, but the company name is fully encapsulated within the design. So you think about BMW and their logo and how that is. So it's with the combination marks, oftentimes you have the icon and then the text underneath, but the emblem logos have everything like in one. It's a very compact style of logo. So you think BMW again. Um, Main Ridge Wine, who is sorry, Main Ridge Wine, who is a locally made homemade wine business that we collaborated with Joshua and Vivid to really create this awesome looking logo and labels and stuff like that. Again, right here, local in Tobago. And finally, and very biased here, but Reese Island Regency, who Joshua spoke about earlier, working with, have a lot of ties to this brand. This is another example of a beautiful emblem logo where everything kind of encapsulated into one. And they offer pre-packaged customized gift boxes to local and even Trinidad and anywhere really. Again, a little biased, but excellent presentation and logo design is awesome, right? So you could check them out. So like I was saying, just to recap, we looked at what is a logo, and some types of logos and how you could subtly kind of incorporate some feeling into that and some emotion into the logo in a very subtle way, in a very abstract way. I never want to be too literal. Is why I try to tell people all the time. A big trend here with locally is to have your logo kind of be the explanation for your business, so that when people see your logo, like I want them to see everything. Like I want them to know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like that way. But that you're really asking too much of the logo at that point, and it comes off as unprofessional, right? It really does. That is not the job of the logo. That is where the branding and the marketing comes on to kind of help that, and even to try to convey the emotions. And then if Josh could bring me back on screen, that is the end of the presentation. Power is back, I see. Oh, excellent.
Yeah. Someone thought that I needed a little light eventually.
Awesome. Yeah.
All right. So Carlton, thank you so much for taking us through that. Thank you everyone for staying on. We really wanted to bring across that and try to share. There is not one piece of your branding that's going to tell your entire story. It's going to be a connection of everything that's going to truly connect your brand. And we even started out by explaining your brand goes beyond all these touch points. It's a combination of who you are. It's holistic. And that is why we wanted to touch different elements of that, including your fonts, the colors you're using, the logo today, and even as I would have shared, who you are, what's your target audience? Should you niche down? Should you now look at personalizing what you do and how you do it? And a lot of these things ties into a few elements we didn't mention, things like your vision and your mission statement. But and those are even very traditional. What you find now, persons are looking at your core values and how does that speak towards what you do. You'd hear things like your brand voice in terms of how are you talking to persons and how does it come out on your website, the way you talk to individuals. Are you a first name basis? Are you a short pants and slipper type organization that persons are very down to earth? And nothing is wrong with that. People are more than ever looking for authentic companies, because so much over this period of time people are seeing a lot of persons are being very fake. They're trying to cover what they're actually doing, and then when you get down to it, they're just saying that for the sake of saying it. So the more authentic you can be and understand who you are, to be true to that, you're going to find your tribe. And that's what you really want. You just don't want business find your tribe that's going to be loyal to you in the way you do things. And they're going to be your advocate. They're going to be ride and die type of guest customers that's going to tell friends about it. They're not going to want to do anything else. They're going to pay extra just to work with you because they understand who you are and they know that you connect with them. So yeah, Nicole, yep, Current is back. And Nicole, I didn't know if you got the announcement earlier. You were a winner from last week that Visuals will be connecting with you. If you haven't done so yet, if you could send them a direct message so that they could get in contact with you, because they will be creating a social media graphic for your business. To connect with Visuals, you could just go to there. Let me see if I could bring my screen in. I thought I had it in, but let me just bring it in. So just go to Visuals Instagram page and click on, just DM them is the best way to connect with them, and they will let you know how, get the details so that they can create your customized social media page. If you haven't already signed up for our option to win a hospitality website, remember, just go to winhospitalitytools.com and register so that you can be eligible for that. If you know a friend, don't be stingy, not because you have a good website, you don't want them to let them know. Let them know that they could win a website. We only have one more week before we select our first winner so that they get a chance to win. There's about 7 entries already, but I'm sure there is more. It's going to be automatic. It's going to select it to let us know so that we could connect with you. If you want to connect with us, then go to our Facebook group. There's a group, Hospitality Tools. So go to Facebook, and there's where you could connect. We try to share hints on how you could actually leverage your business. Our goal is that this will be continuous. It's a community we're hoping to build and share, and we're going to continue to give value as much as possible. If you haven't joined the webinar, please go to vividconsultant.com/webinar, and that will take you to this page where you could simply scroll down to the bottom of the page and type in your email and name. This allows me to weekly, I try to summarize the information in case if you missed it, and we send you a package with the summarized information as well. Without the current going and you're seeing all of it being disconnected, you get the summarized version of everything. Just before we go, if you have any questions, you could always post it in the chat. But Carlton, just before we go, is there any tool or that you would recommend that you've used that either for inspiration or anything in that regard?
Inspiration, I can tell you what I use when I get inspiration. There's an app called Good Notes for I think it's just for iOS, so iPhones and iPads and stuff like that. But that I use that app all the time to jot down all the different ideas that I have. You can use it to sketch and copy and paste note, and you know, if you have an Apple tablet, you could do handwritten stuff as well. Would
this be the same thing here?
Yes.
Goodness. Why are you so biased? It's Android too. Why? So you don't want me to use it? Yes, it is Android too. So yes. So this is
okay.
All right. So Good Notes, definitely. So this is a tool I call to recommend, a productivity tool. I recommended one earlier, and I'll recommend the second one, which is Tidio. This is a chat bot that I'd recommend. I've been using it for a while. A second tool that I use is Grammarly. We all need help writing. I write blogs and things like that. So it's just helpful. It wouldn't do everything, and there are others out there, but it just really helps you for certain grammar that you might not have been thinking about as you. And many times I have responded to persons on your phone, and that's the time that you're typing, so you're not always key to what you might have accidentally typed a wrong key and you didn't pick it up. So I use it for all my communication. So Grammarly is definitely one of the tools I would recommend as well. Nicole asked the question, is the offer open, and that is for the free hospitality tool? Yes. Any company that is into hospitality and they would want to register, yes, just be a subscriber. Ideally, we would like someone to take advantage of the webinar. So we're expecting persons to at least have joined the Facebook or YouTube page so that you have access to the webinar. It's an indication that this person are utilizing the resource and they can register. It's no gimmick. It's just part of our way of giving back. This entire webinar series, it's sponsored by Vivid Consultancy Group. It's one of the companies I am a co-director there. We've been planning this for some time, and we finally have the resources that we could now do this. So every month for the next 12 months, we're going to be selecting one. Ideally, this is geared towards a small to medium-sized hospitality business. The reality is most larger business, we expect that it should already have had a well-connected website. Shame on you if you don't have one, but we're willing to listen, and we would definitely there. So yes, it's now on Android. So I just noticed when I was doing the search that it said they'd have the good notes for Android. I actually saw that in the chat, but maybe I was wrong, but I'm seeing it saying here iPad. I'm hoping it's available for Android, but you might be correct. I'm seeing it saying iPad, but I saw it in Google. It was saying something about Android. Maybe somebody was inquiring if it's available for Android. So maybe it's still iPad. Thankfully, I kind of still have my iPad, so I'll still try to tune in on that. Carl, any last words before we close? And again, thank you for joining us. I know we went over. Maybe it's too much to think we could do this in half an hour, but we'll try. Any last words, Carlton?
Yeah, once again, thanks for having me here. Looking forward to next week and possibly having a special guest on board, and a member from the team coming to talk to you guys. So looking forward to that.
Excellent. So for those that may not be aware, next week we're really looking to bring it all together. And we're going to be talking about how you could share the moment, and especially as it relates to branding, we're looking at how you could use all your brand elements in ways in how you could actually share it. So we're talking about things like merchandising. How do you use branded merchandise, and how is the value of that? How do you put it together in a package? And we're going to also talk about ways in how to make it easier for you to share your content on social media. Be social media friendly for your guests. It's a way in how you could leverage organic traffic. It's one of the best traffic. You don't have to pay for it. A lot of the time, your guests do the advertising for you if you make the experience easy for them to share and encourage them to be able to share with their friends their experiences, where they are, and just give them different ideas and make it accessible for them. So we're going to talk more about that in our next episode. If you haven't invited someone, invite someone, let them have the information. A lot of times you're paying for a lot of the content. We've gotten a lot of their professionals to come on and share. As we end, we're going right into our next webinar. I'm already preparing to do our second series when we complete this. Just to give you a preview, that series is going to be on storytelling. So we're going to be talking about how to create your blog, how to write captivating script writing, copywriting. So I have a professional script writer, brand specialist that's coming on to talk about copywriting. So, and it's have more. For the next 3 months, we've already have professionals booked. In September, we're looking at doing social media advertising. So we have a marketing agency that I've worked with that's going to be coming in to talk about tips on how you could leverage social media marketing. So I am giving you a heads up. This is not because it's free. We really want to bring value. And I've partnered with some of the professionals I've worked with over the years. They have volunteered their time. Not that this is any cheaper. And I really appreciate the sacrifice they've made to bring you this content for free. So take advantage of it, and that you could hopefully do something that will bring your business to recover coming out of this pandemic. So thank you again for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode.